Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and talk about the iPhone 11 Pro and see how this iPhone holds up in the middle of 2022. Now, one thing I will definitely tell you about the 11 Pro is that it is still one of my favorite iPhones pretty much Apple has ever made, but on top of that, I still think even on the latest version of iOS, this thing has a long future ahead of it. It pretty much got almost all the features within iOS 16 as well, and even if Apple goes ahead and does the weird stuff that they always do, which is cutting out older iPhones pretty much super early as of right now, cutting out features for older iPhones too, at least with something like an iPhone 11 Pro, you are still going to be in relatively good hands. Probably still not in a perfect situation, but it's still going to be good enough for a majority of people out there. Now, the first thing I want to state is the body. This thing still feels and looks very, very premium. That OLED display, Super Retina XDR OLED display on the front still looks very good. I have very few complaints about that panel, and I still think the panel itself holds up extremely well in this day and age. On top of that, the build quality with the frosted glass back, it's really only gotten better throughout time. What I mean by that is pretty much every single phone that's came out since then has a frosted glass back. So because of that, we're in another really good spot where a phone like this, even if it doesn't really look the best, in terms of, having a notch or maybe not having 120 Hz on the screen, I still think it feels and looks very good for the most part, even when compared to the 13 Pro in my opinion. Now, moving on to probably the more up-to-date things, there's two things I want to hit on: the software in the future and pretty much the, price tag that this thing is being sold for right now. And we probably did see a little bit of a price decrease from earlier on this year to what we're at now. Looking at a lot of different graphs that I've seen, it looks like for the most part, the iPhone 11 Pro kind of is being sold for the most part, at least earlier on this year, for about $500-ish. And now it's kind of gone down to about $400-ish. Still relatively the same price tag, but it's gone down about $100 since earlier on this year on average. So I think that's a really cool thing. I would say anywhere from like $80 to $100. That's pretty much what this iPhone has pretty much gone down for. So I think that's a good thing. But I will say I have installed iOS 16 on every single iPhone for the most part that's supported. And that includes all of the iPhone 11 series. And to be honest, I think this iPhone holds up extremely, extremely well on this version of software. Now, it's definitely not going to be perfect. There's going to be issues all over the place. But I'll still say for a first beta, I'm relatively surprised how well the iPhone 11 Pro is holding up on this software. Now, on top of that, I will say battery life isn't really doing too well on any of my iPhones. Well, a majority of the newer ones aren't really doing crazy well, but the 11 Pro still is going to be one of the more stable versions of devices that are going to be supported on this version of software. On top of that, looking stability aside, a lot of the features that came out with iOS 16 are now actually pretty much ported over on the iPhone 11 Pro. So that's another really cool thing. It's not like the iPhone 10 where it didn't really get too many features of iOS 16. The iPhone 11 Pro pretty much got a majority of the features within this version of software. So I think that's a really cool thing with this specific phone as well. And I will say on top of that, looking at the future of this phone for the rest of the year and going on for the next 2-3 years, this iPhone is going to be getting software versions probably for the next several years. So I will say, to kind of conclude, I think the iPhone 11 Pro is in a really good spot for the most part. I think it's still completely worth it. It's gone down in value a little bit in the, from the early on this year to now. So if you want to go and pick it up, you can probably buy them for much cheaper than what they were being sold for before. So I think ultimately that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.